And well, it's been 1 year. It hasn't been as long as some of these cases can drag out. So actually, they have gotten what many would consider some form of justice. This happened in January 2023. 29-year-old Tyree Nichols being pulled out of a car. A number of police officers, five were there, some EMT workers. And just if you could just walk us through a little bit of what happened and who's involved, who was involved, who's been convicted. I know a couple of the police officers also have pled in this situation.
Yeah, Tyre Nichols' mother and father and their family are very grateful that the jury returned guilty verdicts on charges of all five of the police officers that were charged in the beaten death, the brutal beaten death of Tyre Nichols. It is one of the most heartbreaking videos of police brutality ever because it's so senseless. Tyree is asking them, what did I do wrong, while they're plummeting him? And at one point, he just says, can I just go home? I mean, he was less than 100 yards from his home, from where his mother and father was there waiting for him. And he never made it home because of the punches, the kicks. I mean, the denial of medical assistance, the denial of humanity. And that's why we're here. After the video came out, because it was captured on a poll camera video, and it came out and people were speechless. President Biden had his parents at the State of the Union address to say that this is beyond the pale for even what we as Americans have become accustomed to with police brutality and excessive force on people of color, especially Black people. And so finally, you had the federal trial brought by Christian Clark, who is head of the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice, and their assistant U.S. attorneys in Memphis, Tennessee, is where they had the week-and-a-half-long trial, and two of the officers pled guilty. That was Martin and Mills. And then Haley was also found guilty of violating Tyree Nichols' civil rights. And then the other two officers were found guilty of conspiracy. And it's very important when you think about the conspiracy claim, because the conspiracy claim allows for all of the officers to be in prison for up to 20 years. And that dealt with them conspiring, lying, falsifying police reports, because their police reports were completely contradicted by the video once it was released. And so you had this Scorpion unit, this special ops unit that seemed to be trained on violating the constitutional rights of Black people in a certain part of town in Memphis, Tennessee. And there was compelling, riveting testimony that this policy, these actions that you saw Tyree Nichols suffer, were condoned all the way to the top. So the verdict, they say a mixed verdict. I think it was, as his parents said, a good verdict. All of them was taken into custody. All of them were convicted of the federal charges. They still have state charges pending for second-degree murder. And when you think about what the jury did, they found that Martin, who everybody agreed was the most culpable, he punished him the most. And then you had Mills and Haley, who also was very active in the beatdown per se. And they all have guilty convictions for actions. And then you have the other two officers who the jury found were involved. They were holding their legs, his arms, but wasn't punching as much. And they lied on the police report, and all of them failed to intervene. We can hear these individuals say, well, they were just bad apples. Well, the question is, where are the good apples who say something when they see the bad apples violate the constitutional rights of citizens? And that was clearly on display here with Tyree Nichols, just like it was on display with George Floyd killing. You had officers who saw their fellow officers doing reprehensible things, but yet they didn't intervene. And so I think this jury said a verdict that would send a message to officers that if you sit idly by and are complicit, then you're part of the problem.